Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Struggle. It's brought to you by Woodlake Addiction Recovery Center. As I say every single time we meet, if you know someone who's struggling, let us help you help them. And if you are struggling, let us help you. I know from personal experience that this disease cannot be handled by yourself. I've tried multiple times to do so and failed miserably. So the first thing you have to do is the hardest thing to do, and that's to reach out to our admission team. The number will be on the screen. You call and talk to Eddie, Lily, or Jody. They are the heartbeat of our facilities. Could not do it without them. And if they give you a bad experience, reach out to me personally, and I'll take care of that for you. Today, I'm going to cry. Let's just put that out there. So it's kind of funny how today's guest came about. On 2 days ago, my originally scheduled guest, there was some miscommunication, probably on my part, and he thought that he was 2 shows away from this one, not this one. So I not panicked. I reached out to someone we had on before. Which is, I'll just say it, our number 1 watched episode that we've done. So I reached out to her, and she roped in another guest, which made me very excited. So without further ado, we have Miss Robyn Paris and Miss Faith Boutte.
Very good. You got it
right. If you guys remember Robyn, she works for Oceans Behavioral Health. Huge, just gangster in the field. And then Faith was on when Jeff and Jason hosted, and Miss Faith is a clinical director, one of the clinical directors at Abbeville, co-director at Abbeville, at the Abbeville location. And Miss Faith was also my counselor when I went through Abbeville, and now she is my boss, which is pretty cool, just in a sense. But Faith wears multiple hats on a daily basis. So what I do want to talk about today is we have 2 sisters here that are in the same field, and just so my first question to either one of y'all, I guess, would be, Faith, you got into the field first. She got into the field first.
Yep.
You graduated UL, started working at Reentry, and did you call her?
So I actually interned at the outpatient program that the sheriff's office had off of Poydras Street in Lafayette.
Okay.
So this was back in 2013. And then I got hired as a juvenile mentor there after I graduated, and eventually moved to ARC, which was a part of the sheriff's office at the time.
That's right.
They had a 6-month rehab. And then Faith obviously knew I worked there, but she was still, her kids were still little. So, she was still doing the mom thing at home, and they were super involved with stuff. And then she was like, I think I want to come back to work. And I think she was interested in kind of what I was doing, but went to the outpatient. I feel like I don't even remember how it exactly happened.
There was, I think, 2 positions for case manager. I didn't know anything about a CIT program.
What were you doing before you took the mom role?
Before I took the mom role?
A dental hygienist.
I was an assistant, a dental assistant.
You was messing with people's mouths?
Yeah.
Oh, you?
Yes.
I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I liked it. That's what I was doing.
And then, all right, so my man Nathan was born.
Yeah.
And you just kind of became mom at home.
Yeah, well, Nathan was born still in a toxic relationship with my first husband, but I was working as a dental assistant then. After he passed away is when I decided to go back to school, but when I first started, it was, I'm going to be a high school English teacher. I don't know where that came from. I think I had an English teacher, I think it was my 10th grade year, Miss Guillory. And I absolutely adored her. And so I think from there, I was like, yeah, I want to do what she does.
Yeah.
And then I started college as a high school English teacher. That was my goal. And then probably 3 semesters in, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. So then I switched over to child and family studies and graduated with that major, and got introduced to residential treatment because my internship was at Acadiana Cares.
Okay.
So that's
Actually
kind of where I
took
fell
some
in love with
classes
that.
together too in college, which was pretty cool, like a substance abuse class.
Yeah.
You two were in the same classroom together?
Yeah, it was
How did that go?
Multiple
Not
times.
good.
Not well.
Nope, not
Yeah.
able to pay attention at all.
No.
And there was text messaging by that point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had text messaging. Lots of inappropriate giggles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did y'all sit next to each other?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I can't sit next to her at a coalition meeting,
Yeah,
much
I'm sure
less
you can.
class. All right, so you get in the field now. Y'all both working at the ARC.
No,
Well,
No,
she's off of Poydras. I'm at the ARC,
yeah.
the
I
outpatient.
was a case manager.
You were a
started
case
off as
manager.
Case manager.
and you're doing counseling.
I was actually started at the ARC doing utilization review,
Okay, so
working on my CIT.
okay, and you're working on your CIT as a case manager.
Not until 2 years in. So I did case management for 2 years, and then in 2016 decided I wanted to do a CIT program, and then kind of started or helped to start the custody program.
Okay.
Where we kind of did like a pre-rehab, like before you go see Robyn at ARC, you're gonna learn the first 3 steps with
So
me.
how does that? You these are people that have been convicted, sentenced, and they're coming down to short time, and then they go to reentry. Like, how were y'all? How were they able?
It
Like,
wasn't reentry; it was something separate.
so how are these? I hate saying inmates. Let's call them clients. How are these clients being picked for this program?
So they had the STOP program, which I believe they still have in the jail
They
now.
do, yeah.
And if you, so a couple ways. So if they had a substance abuse charge or substance abuse related, so maybe it was a domestic, but they were under the influence when they were arrested, then they could qualify for the 6-month rehab. And so that is some ways that we got them in. Or at the time, Judge Edwards was over drug court. Amazing. I can't say enough good stuff about him. And he did some good stuff while he was over that. And if they were in drug court and failed so many drug screens, or
Yeah.
they were just struggling being in that program, then he would send them to the 6-month rehab. And once they completed with us, then they would go back into drug court. But they had to complete out the full 6 months.
Okay.
That was for the 6-month rehab. As far as her program, I'm not sure how they.
I think they would do an assessment in the jail, and then they would come to us. They were actually housed there. So at the training center on Willow, the building to the left when you're facing, that used to be where my office was, my classroom was, and the guys lived in the pod there.
Okay.
So there's like 25, 30 males.
Where Miss Jessica is.
Yes.
Yes.
So they lived there. They came to classes with me there. We did groups.
And your main focus was substance abuse, grief, trauma, co-occurring, basically the
Life
same
skills.
life skills,
Kind of doing life skills.
parenting.
Not digging too much into the trauma,
We did
parenting, anger
parenting.
management.
And we did parenting and anger management in the 6-month rehab.
Is that where you got MRT certified and was
Yes.
doing that too?
Yes.
Okay.
And our guys were also housed in that location. So everything that's empty that looks like storage now.
Yeah.
There were anyone in the 6-month rehab or or her program. That's where they were housed, females and males. It was co-ed, not together,
No.
but
Females were in the back.
yeah.
So how often were you able or could maybe keep up with these guys as they left? And was there a lot of success? Because hurts my you still.
I still talk to some of the guys that were in that program. I actually have. I'm not gonna say his name. I know he wouldn't care, but I had a client that came through. I think he had told me by the time he got to jail and came into the program, it was like his 14th time in treatment. And he's still sober today. a few years back, I got a message from him, and he told me that he had graduated the doctorate program in
Oh, my
speech
goodness.
pathology from LSU.
Wow.
And he was actually working in the jail helping get inmates fitted for like hearing aids. And I was just like, that is just so
circle.
crazy. And so it, he was ready at that time to get sober, you know, and it took 14 times. And so that's why I always say don't ever give up on anybody. But that is, I mean, I think he has a baby now. He's married to the girl that would come to family sessions and things when he was back with me. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people that they'll reach out to me on Facebook or things like that are still sober. Or, I mean, some of them became counselors and did CIT stuff. And so that was, and I got to work with them for a little bit. And so that was really cool to see, like, wow, you were in here and I was counseling you at one time, and now you're becoming a counselor.
That's cool.
Like, how cool is that? It gives me chills.
How about you?
Same. I'm just thinking while she was talking, I actually have a picture of my last group that I had before I moved over in my office. Before I moved over to Woodlake. Unfortunately, 2 of them have passed. But there's 2 that are standing out in my head right now. One is a counselor for a teen challenge.
Oh, wow.
And the other one actually opened up some sober living facility. I don't know if he's still doing it. I haven't spoke with him in a while, but that was one of his goals, like a faith-based sober living, and that's exactly what he ended up doing.
So I'm just gonna say it. If anybody's watching that has anything to do with the parish of Lafayette or the sheriff's office, is a challenge to you to bring this program back. I've been through prison, and it doesn't define who I am today. But it's because of people like this and programs like that is the jump start to where I'm at today in life. And it's sad. It's sad to see that Lafayette doesn't offer anything like that anymore when it comes to substance abuse. And again, if anybody that has any connection and this pisses you off enough, call me and let's talk about getting something like this back into that facility to help people. It only helps the community, not just us. All right, so we go from that. Y'all worked at Woodlake together as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Who went to Woodlake? Well, they shut down the program.
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all were both.
So they sold the program to Woodlake.
That's right.
After,
That's right.
yeah. And I just jumped ship. I'm, me, I'm a little squirrel. So I was like, I'm out. I was mad.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to work for Woodlake. I don't know why I didn't have a reason not to work for Woodlake. I mean, I had gone through the process and everything, but I had been talking to one of the guys that was sponsoring some of my clients, and he worked it was New Beginnings at the time in Opelousas.
That's right.
It's now the Heroes program.
Yes.
But at the time, it was a program, like a 90-day program for adolescents with addiction. I learned very quickly that adolescence just probably wasn't the best fit for me. That was wild. But it was a good time. It was a good experience. I learned a lot. I worked there as a counselor for a little bit, and then I think I had talked to Adrian Perron. I'll just throw his name out there. He was my CCS. He was actually my supervisor at ARC. Thank you for the 6-month rehab. He
Adrian
works
from Lardra.
Yes.
Shout out Adrian. As soon as I can't wait to meet you, bro, and thank you
You
for
haven't met
helping
Adrian?
me. You have canceled 2 coffee dates on us, so let's shoot for a third.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian's great. I learned so much from him and continue to learn from him.
Yeah.
And so we actually worked in that. I met him when I first interned in 2013. He was off of Poitras too. And so I've been knowing him since my internship. And I was talking with him, and he was like, why don't you just come back,
He was working.
He was at Woodlake.
Woodlake.
Yeah,
Okay.
because he was at the 6-month rehab, and he took the position at Woodlake.
Okay.
And he was like, why don't you just come back? We need a therapist in the Lafayette location. And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll come back.
And you had gone
I went to Abbeville.
to Abbeville after they shut
Yeah.
down the reentry.
The sheriff retained me. They were going to keep the custody program, but it felt very unstable. And then I found out that there was an Abbeville facility. I'm from Kaplan.
Yeah.
So it was like a hop, skip, and jump. I'm right there. And I didn't even know that it existed. And so I reached out to Miss Wendy, and they were
How
hiring.
long had Abbeville been open? Not too long, huh?
No, I moved to
2017 or
I moved in 2017. I think they opened Abbeville in like 13, 14 maybe. I don't remember the exact year, but I was there when we had our first, like our 5-year anniversary there.
Okay.
So.
And you went over there as a residential counselor
With females.
with females.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was wild. It was great because I knew Shayla, one of the other counselors there. I knew her from my hometown and then also from the sheriff's office. She was one that had moved over. And then I met Danielle. And
Leffel.
Danielle Leffel.
Yes. Sorry.
My bestie.
Yeah.
Met Danielle and
What was she doing there?
we just hit it off, female counselor.
Her bestie after me, though.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
that's you don't have to. You're fine.
You're the sister. Not just the sister. You're the sister.
It bothered you a little bit.
Yeah,
I think it bothered you. You want to talk about it?
A little bit.
All right. Next episode.
Yeah, so and then Robyn goes to Lafayette and then eventually ends up in Abbeville as a female counselor. So it's me, Robyn, and Danielle counseling the females, and we rocked it.
Devin pretty much like recruited me.
Yeah.
So
How many females were in that facility at a time?
24?
All right, and you had 3 counselors for 20.
No, I lied. We didn't
No.
have 24. We had 36.
yeah.
We had 36.
We had
It was
more.
36. We had
Yeah.
36 males, 36 females.
Okay. All right. So just
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So y'all. All right. So you, Danielle, and Robyn,
Oh, it was
are the
great.
female counselors, and Devin Brown is your supervisor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Devin had come to Lafayette, and he was kind of sitting in on some of the groups helping out, and he was like, what about coming to Abbeville? And I was like, well, can I work with my sister was one of the first questions, which I wanted to, but I was like, is there some legalities in this,
Okay,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so as long as nobody was a supervisor over anybody else, then we could work together. And so that was exciting, to be able to work with her again and actually in the same building, you know? And so I went to Abbeville, and man, we would rock that. I don't want to call it community because that's what it was at the 6-month rehab, but the big groups y'all do on
FCC.
FCCs.
Okay,
Thank you. I'm
so
thinking of our
is-
community group at 6-month rehab.
Was there ever a time y'all were both residential counselors at the sheriff's department?
No.
No. All right. So this is the first time y'all actually got to
Together.
work hand in hand in the same room, same group. All right. I need some stories.
Yeah. Oh,
I need some stories.
Danielle was always bad cop.
Yeah.
Oh, she still is,
That was
dog.
always bad cop for sure. I was actually thinking about this the other day because Danielle and I talk about that time often.
Yeah.
And I was like, Danielle was like the dad. I was like the mom, and Robyn was the mean older sister. But she could, oldest sister. But like she could also kind of fluctuate. Or Robyn could kind of fluctuate between I need to be confrontational or I need to be soft. I was always too soft,
Yeah.
and Danielle was very hard. So
I thought
we
she was
all
going to say like
three-
the little chihuahua or something.
Danielle was
like the mean chihuahua.
So listen, now Danielle calls me her chihuahua.
Yeah.
Because usually Danielle is like storming down the hallway if there's a fight or an issue or whatever we have to go address. She's like storming down the hallway like a bulldog, and I'm like chasing behind her like a little chihuahua. That's exactly what.
But it was
what we
so
were.
great. I miss those days. I really do. Like those were the days.
Yeah.
You know, we were such a great team and worked so good together.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe our personalities.
Yeah. Because we're still all close.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
even Robyn and Danielle still have a close
Oh
relationship.
yeah, for sure. I think having one person in recovery,
Yeah.
you know, kind of can shake it up a little bit and make it. I think it's the personalities. I think we just worked well together. Like we kind of knew what each other needed as far as support. I could kind of tell when, you know, especially FCCs, which is when the whole community is in there and they kind of telling each other about themselves. it was easy for us to spot when someone else needed the other person to jump in.
Yeah.
You know, there were other times in FCCs when we had different counselors come in that not everybody could spot that. And so we could just spot off the top, like, okay, I need to step in because Danielle's getting a little bit crazy, you know, or Faith is maybe, sometimes you get triggered when you run in a group, if we're being honest.
Perspective of someone else might have picked up something in a different experience that can come in and maybe see the guy or girl. Because because that's been that's my experience. If I'm trying to get someone to see one way and it's just ain't working, I'm beating my head against the wall.
Yeah.
Is there another counselor here that can say, "Yo"?
And it's like the same thing you're saying, but
just a different way.
Yeah,
And I get it.
and I think the hard truth about, like, counselors get triggered. You know, you have transference. You know, and so, like, there's times where you can kind of tell, man, that's just what it is. It is. I'm going to call it what it is. And so there's nothing wrong with that. It's a very normal thing. Burnout is a very normal thing. So I think if you're able to really spot that in someone you're co-counseling with, that's super important because then you can jump in and kind of make it work.
Some of my favorite moments are when we don't even say anything to each other. So, like, if I sit in with Zach or we're doing FCCs on a Monday, and it just flows, and then after we'll walk down the hall and just kind of look at each other and be like,
yeah, we did that.
I mean, you have to say a word.
Yeah.
We just both know, like, that was fire.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm ready to kill this day, you know.
But listen,
feeling.
I got to tell this story because
Listen, I never know what's going to come out of her mouth.
Neither,
I'm always
dude.
on guard. I'm like, what story is she about to bust up with now?
So it's funny because, Faith is my older sister and she gets protective.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's really cool because when I was pregnant for the twins, I worked there and with Oakley and the baby. And so she still has, like, pictures on her phone of me laying on her couch. Because, listen, I was miserable, okay, with the twins. And so there's pictures of me just laying on her couch. I just go to try to breathe a little bit, because they were taking my lungs out. But I was in the office that was, like, in the front of the building. And so they had, like, the big window right by where people drive and park. And I was big and pregnant with the twins. And we had just had a girl leave. She actually left AMA. We didn't kick her out. She left AMA because she just didn't want to hear about herself. So it wasn't a good ending, And so she storms out. And, I had told her I was going to have to call her emergency, her release and let them know. And that really upset her. So I'm in the office and Faith was sitting on the sofa in there, and she comes, and, like, there's bushes in the front of the window, right? And she comes and crawls over the bushes, and she's banging on the window, and she's like, I'm going to kill you. And so Faith, like, slams, she's like, get out of here, you're not going to do anything. She, like, closes the shades, and then she runs and locks the door, and it was a great time. But I was like, wow, Faith is about to jump through the window back at this chick, because she's like, I'm not just protecting Robyn, I'm protecting those kids in there.
And you got clients in there that need to be worried about. You got staff.
But I thought she was coming through the window for sure.
Yeah.
But I think about those moments where they kind of make me laugh a little bit now.
So like, what are some moments, like I was talking about, like I have had with Zach? Like, have y'all ever had? Do y'all still talk about that? The moments of, like, when y'all killed it in group, or I would imagine. How long were you there?
4.5 years, something like that.
So I'm sure you two have massive amounts of clients that you still talk to on a regular basis that are highly successful in life.
Yeah.
We have some clients that come back now that were there when Robyn was there, and the first thing they ask me is, how's your sister? When they see me.
That's cool,
So, like, they remember her, and it's been, 5 years since you've been with us almost?
I think I left in 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 5 years. Yeah. And they'll ask, how's your sister doing? They remember her.
And you left to have Oakley?
No, so in the time that I was there, I was working on my master's, my MBA in healthcare admin. Yep. And so I had an experience with a client, and I think during COVID was difficult. Because there were a lot of people relapsing that had been sober for a very long time.
I think we talked about that last time.
Yeah. And so you get I hate to say, you get kind of cold or immune to it because you just hear about deaths a lot when you're counseling in the field. But when those people that had been sober for a while were relapsing, that was hard. It was a lot of funerals we were going to. And then I had a client, his family was super involved, and he left like a day before he was going to finish treatment. And it was very kind of shocking. Like, it was after hours.
I think
and
you had shared that in the last podcast.
yeah, and his family had called me, and that one was hard because it's like every time I sat in my office, I could still see him sitting in the chair next to me, you know? And so after him, I was like, I don't want to counsel anymore. Like, it's too much. I had the twins, and then I was pregnant with Oakley, and so I kind of wanted to go a different route. I wanted to help the helpers. And so I actually was that's when I got hired at the boarding school for teen girls.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I did operations over there. So
I wanted to get your take on that, Faith. Like, I mean, I've been in the field for 2 years. I've been in recovery for 4 and some change. And I mean, even before I got in the field, the amount of people that pass away, and I don't want to say that I was close to, but you just hear about it. It's almost like a weekly thing, especially when you're involved in programs out, you know, in the community and doing the things to stay sober. But then I get into the treatment field, and it's almost like it doubles. And then that's when you do get close to these guys and girls. And I don't want to say relationships, but for lack of a better term, it's obviously it's a professional relationship.
Sure.
But man, there was probably a 4-month stint where, like, I didn't know how to do. What do you do? Like, how do you handle? I mean, obviously I've gone past that, but like, you've been doing this for what, almost 10 years?
Yeah.
And like, how has that progressed? How has it gone from probably, and I could be wrong, like, oh my God, this sucks. Oh, this is just the way it is, to now I have to really feel like, what do you do? How do you do that?
I think one is definitely support from my peers and, of course, my family. Thank God I have a very understanding husband, like, so understanding. My kids too.
Man.
Pan.
Yeah, pan. My kids too. My kids are both in the mental health / addiction / sheriff's department field, you know, both of them. So they both had a very good understanding and were compassionate. But I think, so my first experience with that loss after my first husband was a client from the sheriff's department. He actually passed away a month after I left. And it was only like a few weeks after he had got out of jail. And that one hit like a ton of bricks. Like, it felt like all my emotion from experiencing my husband's loss came back tenfold. But I had never really dealt with it. So one thing I do express to, you know, our clinicians and any CITs that I have under me is self-care, and getting your own therapist is a must. Because if not, you'll end up with compassion fatigue or burnout, and you're going to recognize, you know, kind of like where Robyn was, because she wasn't really dealing with it, that you just don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
It's very emotionally draining. I think through the years, I've allowed myself to grieve. Each loss that I've experienced, I always attend, or at least try to attend if it's within distance, because I don't drive very far. Robyn actually drove me here today. I'm scared of bridges.
She don't like the bridge.
No. And traffic. That makes me nervous. But I think that I've tried to go to every funeral so I can pay my respect to that person and their family as well, because I was that family member at one time. And so I know how important that support is. I think now, like, just in this last year, especially, you know, within the last couple of months, we've lost 2 people that I've had long-term professional relationship with, 2 clients. And initially, when it was told to me that they passed away, I was numb. And I did not like that feeling, because I kept telling everybody that I worked with, I don't want to ever get to that place.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to feel this. I want to be able to walk through it, you know. And I felt numb with the last 2 losses. But I think I was just trying to compartmentalize because I'm in a different role now. So I felt like I need to go support my staff. So I think it was like, let me put my feelings off for a moment. I need to save them up because I need to be there for my clinicians. I need to be there for the clients that just lost their peer. And so it was like, I got to put it away. But it stayed away. So I am in therapy. I see my therapist once a month. Absolutely love her. Shout out Miss Amy if you watch this. She's great. One day she asked me, is this even doing anything for you? I was like, listen, yes. I just need you to let me come in here for 45 minutes and dump.
Yeah.
At
Sometimes she
times.
calls me and I'm like, did you see your therapist this week yet? Because you might need to call her.
It's coming up. It's probably like the third week.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I do want to jump in and say, though, I think it's also very important, and I want to say this because when I first started in the field, it was kind of taught to you, like, don't show emotions.
Yeah.
You got to hold yourself together all the time. Be still, like your poker face, basically.
Right.
And it was Mr. Devin Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still resentful at him. I need to do a step 4, I think. Love him, though. Shout out, Devin. Sat in one of my groups when I worked at the New Beginnings facility with the kids. There was a client of mine who, after she had left, committed suicide. And that was so I think an overdose was, I was used to those, but I had never experienced the suicide before. And she was a child. And so, like, that threw me for a loop, and I just buried it. And then Devin had me counseling a group of women. And he was sitting in my group, and one of the girls talked about how she was struggling with thoughts of doing that. And I didn't even notice myself manipulate the entire group to not even talk about what she said and talk about something else. And Devin was like, you realize you did this. And so when they came back from break, he made me tell them what I experienced and that I did that with now. And that was probably one of the best groups I had because all the girls were crying and they were like, thank you for showing us that you actually have feelings and you're not a robot.
Yeah.
And so kind of jumping back from when that one client died that I struggled with, we went to we had to tell all the guys because he just left the night before. They were still in treatment. And I told them because they were like, do y'all want me to say, do y'all want to say it or do you? And I was like,
With
I
the
feel like
family's permission.
yeah, with the family's permission, of
Yeah.
course. And I wanted to be the one to tell them. And so I cried through that. And then her and Danielle, kind of took over from there and the other therapists that were there. But I think that helps the clients realize, because sometimes as a counselor, you are having to put on that poker face. You can't just go and cry at every group, and, spill your personal stuff. But I think in certain moments, it helps to show them that, like, hey, everyone has feelings and it's okay. Like, it's okay to show those emotions. Yeah. So
I think that's what I used to have my clients when they would discharge. I have this little book that they would write in. And the most feedback that I've gotten in the book, because they would give feedback to my group, like, make sure you're turning in your nightly inventories. Miss Faith's going to pull your phone pass if you don't do that. But the most feedback I got was gratitude for me being genuine. Like, thank you for being genuine. Thank you for your authenticity. Thank you for being a human. And so that makes me grateful to know that I am allowing myself to not just be a robot. And I think us being able to have those moments, not making it about me because it's always about the client, but those moments build the best rapport is when you can just be yourself. And that's kind of what I've always tried to do.
Yeah.
I just remembered I used to always be so
Angry?
no, well, we're going to get there. But I used to, this is after we got to some anger stuff, but you used to be able to look at me and write, and I would be so mesmerized of like, she can't be able to read it. And then I remember taking a glance at your 5-star notebook one day, and I was like, dude, she got better handwriting than me. She's not even looking at the page. She's just listening. I write everything every client says. All right, so yes, you segued to it. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
So if you know me well enough, you know this story. I talk about it all the time. I will always talk about it as much as I can because you mean the world to me and my family, more than you probably know. My dad, my mom, my brother, all that stuff. So I walked into treatment, and I sat in the same spot every day, in the same chair. It was underneath the light switch, right next to the door. There was probably something to that too. Like if you wanted to, I probably would have left it. I don't know. And I just mean mugged you for 5 days. I stared at you, as scary as I could be.
God, that 5 days. You were on a mission.
5 days, yeah.
Golly,
I had told another client,
him
like
something.
on day 3, he approached me in the kitchen area, and he's like, "Hey, man, I just wanted to say hi. You know, it's a good group of guys." And I was like, "Get the F out of my face. I'm not here to make friends. I don't care who you are." He's actually like one of my best friends today. Spoke to him last week, by the way.
Good.
I'll catch you up on him. He's doing well. And your sister decided on day 5 to look me in the eyes and say, "You know, I'm not scared of you, right?" And I don't know how fast it took, but like instant tears. I just started crying. And I remember thinking to myself, like, "Oh my God, all these dudes are going to think I'm a wuss and this, that, and the other. I don't even know why I'm crying, but it feels good. So I'm going to cry some more. I don't care now." And I don't remember the rest of that group. But, man, I remember some of our one-on-ones where one particular where you kept telling me, you know, it's okay if you are. And, like, I was not wanting to hear that at all. I remember I tried to be, like, not needy, but I would always put a note in your thing. And every day, man, every time I put a note in her thing, in her box.
You're trying to see her individually all the time.
Yeah. And she didn't want to, but she would come see me before she left for the day. Every single time. I put her, "Hey, can I see you today?" And it'd be like, "Hey, no, you're next week, but are you okay?" And like all that stuff started to build up. But again, literally last night, like, I don't want to make this episode about me, but I mean, we did 30 minutes about y'all, so
Yeah, but here we are.
here we are. What do you remember me as a client?
I mean, you're very hard to forget.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely remember you as a client. I actually remember that whole group.
That was a wild group, bro.
We had a
You
a
lasted
really
long.
good
I feel
group.
like I'd have told
It
him
was-
something like
no,
the
it
first
was-
group. I'd have been
it was
like,
a great,
take
it
a
was great
picture.
group. Yeah. It was a great group.
It was a good group.
Yeah, I definitely remember you. There's not very many clients I don't remember.
Yeah.
And we've seen so many, but every once in a while, I'm just like, "Wait, what's your name?" Like, if we have somebody that relapsed and they're like, "Miss Faith, remember me?" I'm like, "Remind me your name." And the minute they say the name, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I remember you."
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely remember you as a client.
Yeah.
Is he still needy?
I mean, he definitely still utilizes me as a client.
Bro.
So
wouldn't I?
yeah.
wouldn't I?
But I think it's great. Like, I will say this, all of my past clients that now work for Woodlake or work in this field, I don't know. It's like, I know I didn't do anything, right? Because I'm not that special. I can't really save anybody from this disease. I know they had to put in the work. I know all my part was to plant the seed, and they had to water it and let it grow. But like, it's almost like a which a lot of people call me Mama Faith at work, but like, it's almost like a parent watching their child grow, you know, like, golly, to remember, which I think is why inpatient treatment is my passion, because I've tried doing outpatient and it just wasn't for me. And I think everybody's different, you know, at what level of care they thrive in. And I think watching the client come in that moment of desperation and the hopelessness and feeling alone and feeling like there's nowhere to go, and then watching that light come back to their eyes, watching
That's
them
the- that's the
find
stuff. Yeah.
their purpose again, which is something I always tell them, like, while you here, start trying to figure out how to love yourself again. Start figuring out what direction you want to go in life and what your purpose is. Because that's what I did. Like, I was going to be a high school English teacher, and I took the pain I experienced in my past and turned it into my purpose. You know, and for me, being able to share that experience keeps Will, my first husband, it keeps his life is
Yeah.
still going, because his death is not in vain if just one person that we share his memory with, you know. And it's the same for all the previous clients that I've lost before, because I speak of them often as well. And so their death is not in vain either, because we get to share those memories.
But, you know, you say like it wasn't me, but you know, I can easily give you at least some credit to where I'm at today. It's not that obviously you didn't do it all, but the you and I said this a while back. You made it okay for Matt to trust women again, and I don't know how long before that I did. Probably at a very young age, that was probably taken, and I held on to that hate towards women. You and I'm sure I was testing you, but like just the consistent of being a human and caring played a huge role into me opening up. You talked my now wife out of breaking up with me while I was in treatment, so you play a part in my marriage.
I can't believe you weren't like, leave his ass.
No.
I'm
I
kidding.
could have been.
I know, right? You could have easily been.
It was at a very toxic space,
Yeah.
you know, and I watched her struggle as the family member.
Yeah.
You know, we would talk probably once a week, if not twice a week. She would call it just to check in. And, you know, you could tell she was broken and she was hurting, because we say it is a family disease. Everybody's affected. And if you don't know, you don't know.
And she had no idea.
Yeah.
But it's so good to see y'all relationship now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to watch that
It's
unfold.
amazing.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot. Like I think about like, what if she would have left? And she had every right to leave, and it probably would have been easier for you to just say leave. Who know? But you didn't. So like that's there. I called you every Friday for a year straight, and you couldn't pick up sometimes, but you called back every single time. I'm sure there were some times and like she's probably not gonna call back. Screw her, you know, whatever. And then now, dude, like starting. It's been cool. Me and Emily were talking about this not too long ago about how our relationship has progressed into what it is, because I'm not gonna lie, it was weird to have you as a boss at first.
Sure.
Right? Like that's weird. Like
Yeah.
this lady knows a lot about me.
Right.
And now she's telling me what to do, and like this isn't like it's not like counselor type, hey, go do your assignment. It's like, hey, go to class. Or so that was weird. And then also the co-director, Miss Danielle, she was my IOP counselor, so that was weird. She knew a lot of stuff about me. I never really had much interaction with her in residential when she would teach education a couple times a week when I was there, but that was it. And now you're my boss.
Yeah.
So that was weird. And then like this friendship has blossomed out of it. I've been to your house. Your son is one of my favorite people in the world. I'm gonna marry him in
Right.
December.
Crazy
Right?
is that?
How cool is that? And like I always know in the back of my mind, if there's something that happens to me and your name pops up, I can call you and you're gonna answer the phone. Like, and then like to you, man. Like I've only known you for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
But in a sense, I feel the same way. Like there's just something there with you two that I just trust, and to say that I trust women again is it still feels weird coming out of my mouth, but I do, and it started with you, you know, and probably because you're her sister, it was a lot easier for me to let you into my life as fast as I did. And yeah, man, you come up at family gatherings pretty often. Like, especially with my dad, you know, he'll always ask, "Hey, how's Faith?" You know, this, that, and the other, because I've talked so much about you, and so does Emily and this, that, and so, yeah, you get a little more credit than you give yourself, especially from me. I'll give it to you.
Thank you.
So,
I do it because I love it. I couldn't imagine myself anywhere. Like if I decided tomorrow this is not what I want to do,
what would you do?
what would I do? I don't even know. This is definitely, I think anybody in this field, it has to be their passion.
Yes.
Like they have to love the job and want to be that person. You know, it's just it's heavy. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And then I get to watch a different side of you, because there's times where I walk a client into your office and I'm done. I'm over this person, and here she is, just like, "Hey, how you doing? Have a seat. You want a piece of candy?" And I'm like, she's so nice to this dude right now, right?
My clients used to call me the candy plug. You remember? I'd be like, "Don't call me." They'd be like, "Yeah, go with Miss Robyn. She's the candy plug." I'm like, "No,
When you were doing
don't say
assessments.
that." Yeah.
What's the biggest difference from substance abuse residential to what you do now?
The biggest difference, man.
I'm sure there's a bunch, but
I don't know. That's
I
a
would think,
hard one.
Like not as much client interaction.
I mean, yeah, not
Like,
as much.
initially you get them, but then,
Yeah. So definitely not as much client interaction, which is what I wanted. Like I'm able to fill my little counselor cup with my assessments and,
there you go.
you know, meeting people and doing education and things like that. But then I'm able to kind of pass them on to wherever it is they need to go, whether it's Oceans or Woodlake or whatever that looks like. But I love it so much because I'm still able to help people. And that was my goal. Like I didn't want to go back to school and get a job just sitting behind a desk, you know, working at a bank or something. Like that's not what I wanted. I still wanted to help people in some way, shape, or form. And I'm kind of with Faith. It's like you hear, like even people like I've assessed and got them into treatment. It's like their family members, because sometimes I'll be in touch with them and they'll be like, "Oh God, you're a guardian angel. This is the first time." And I'm like, it's uncomfortable to hear that. Like it makes it, I feel weird because I'm like, I was just kind of planting the seed.
Yeah.
You know, I was just there to kind of help, and it was just the right time for them to be ready for that help. And so it's still really uncomfortable to like hear things like that because I don't have a magic wand. I can't. If we could fix everybody, then this field wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
But it's just good to know that I'm still touching some people or at least educating them. Because, I mean, now that I'm out, I'm in the community. And so, I mean, I'll be at the homeless shelter working with people there to yesterday I was teaching some deputies at the sheriff's office about substance abuse and mental health.
That's cool.
And so I get to not only touch the people that are struggling and that are in it, but my goal is also to educate the people that, you know, like your officers or schools like SLCC, that are in contact that maybe, you know, they didn't go to school for mental health or they don't quite understand how to deal with those people, and them just being open to hear about that education. I think my goal is, I've always said this, is the more educated we can make people about mental health and substance abuse, the more open people are going to be, and we can let that stigma go. You know, you would think it's 2026. We shouldn't have a stigma, but welcome to South Louisiana.
Massive,
it's still there. And, you know, I think people should be more comfortable talking about it and not pushing it under the rug. And I used to tell my clients this too, is like, your brain is just another organ. Like if you had a heart disease, we would talk about that. You know, if you had diabetes, we would talk about that. So just because your brain has a sickness, that doesn't mean that you are lower than or broken or, you know, can't lead a regular life. I don't want to say normal because, I mean, I'm far from that. But, you know, I think everyone has been through some things. Everyone has their issues. And, you know, life is hard.
I think we and I'm on a trip right now of like verbiage. We got to find some better verbiage to present this stuff. I heard, you know, for someone who continues to go back to the same thing that burns their life down, there's got to be something wrong mentally, right? Like if I keep using heroin and I know heroin's gonna mess my life up, but I do it anyway. Like there's got to be something going on up here. I feel like normal people hear that and it's just like, well, they just need to not do heroin anymore. Great. I wish I could have just not done heroin anymore. But like if us in the treatment world could come up with some better verbiage or a better way to explain it to, I think family members, it's easier because they see it firsthand experience. But like others that haven't experienced it to try to explaining
I
it to
don't
them?
even know if it's like a change in verbiage. I think it's a change in perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like, I'll say that because I'm in school right now for my master's, and actually, one of the discussion posts was about resistance and substance use treatment. And one of the students posted about verbiage. Like, we would change them from calling them addicts or saying addiction or saying substance abuser. And that's how he would focus on helping, is by kind of changing the verbiage. And so my response, because we have to do these discussion post responses, was I don't really think it's about changing the verbiage. I think it's about changing the perspective, because I hear addict and what I think of automatically is strong, resilient, courageous, powerful. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
And so I think it's about changing people's perspective, not really having to change how we say it, but how we see it.
And I think that goes
like
back
that.
to like the education component. And so the more and people that want to learn, so ignorance is bliss, right? And I always say that people that don't understand addiction and mental health, like, that's their own stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and they are probably dealing with their own stuff and just don't want to be honest with themselves about it. And so the day that I feel like I know everything is the day I mess up.
That's right.
You know, and so I think I'm with Faith. It's that perception, but it also just it's not hard to educate yourself on it. You know, and there's so many things out there that you can read. I mean, we all have the internet at our fingertips, you know, and just understanding someone else. And I'm going to use Sean. I like to use him as a guinea pig, my husband, but there was a recent interaction, and this interaction meant a lot to me because I was helping somebody that was close to me, and so there was times where, like, through that was kind of like I feel like a month-long process or something. Through that, Sean, he's military, oil field, a man, no offense, but they don't really understand. You know, if you're not in it, you don't really get it. And so he was like, "Are you going to keep trying?" You know, because that's what he gets it. But it's like at some point, it's like, you still doing this?
Yeah.
You know, like at what point do you stop trying?
Still hearing about this?
Yeah. And so after the fact and everything's great now with that person, he came up to me. I was kind of talking to him about it, and he was like, "I'm sorry for saying for you to give up."
Dang.
And I was like, that meant a lot coming from him, just because, like I said, he knows it because he hears my stories, and he's, you know, been together forever. But that was a big, I mean, even Faith's probably like, "What?"
Yeah, I can't believe
He did
Sean,
what?
that came out of your mouth. I'm gonna remind
But
you
he
of that.
did. And I was just, you know, it felt super supportive because I was excited because it was kind of an education moment for him without either one of us even realizing it. You know, so it was that moment for him of like, "Oh, I see why you do what you do, and I see why you keep pushing even though they might be resistant, or even though this is their 15th time getting help." Like, it was a really cool moment, and it was really cool to see him kind of get that education without me even having to say anything. Like, he just saw the action and the outcome, and that was just a really great moment to experience.
I think that's important for people to know. Like, it's very difficult for my brain to wrap around that when someone says, like, "How long are you going to keep trying?" Or, like, "Why would I give up on someone who everyone has already given up on?"
Yeah.
Like, that blows my mind. Like, I understand they're resistant. I understand this person is frustrating and it's pulling a lot out of you. That's when you learn how to set healthy boundaries, what enabling and what support looks like, and the difference between the two. And you take care of yourself in a healthy way so that you can be in a place where you're not giving up on them.
Yeah. Which is why I got in. I think when I first started at the jail, a lot of people were like, "Why do you want to work at the jail? Like, why do you want to work with, you know, inmates?" And my answer was always the same, and it still is today, because that is still my favorite population to work with. The homeless shelter, like, those are my spots. And my answer is always because I want to help the people that everyone else has stopped caring about. Not necessarily caring about, but like families have to set boundaries.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to do. And so like shout out to the families that can actually do that and know like my son or my daughter might be homeless, but I have to do this because I'm killing them by enabling them. But knowing that, like I said, some parents have reached out to me and been like, thank you for helping my child, which means a lot as a parent. But it's not that they didn't care, but it's like there's still someone there that's not a family member that can still be that person to help the person that, just I think everybody deserves chances. And I think everyone has most people have the opportunity to rehabilitate and to get better and to live a successful life.
Yeah, getting in this field has probably made me a much softer sponsor and program. I was very rigid, and if you're not in the boat, you got to row, and the sharks need to eat too. I'll throw you back, like just
Golly,
wild.
That is ruthless.
Golly.
I know. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't even say rigid.
Yeah,
Ruthless.
it's just the way it was.
Throw you in the ocean, man. I'm about to throw you to a hammer.
Lineage. So then I come into the treatment world, and like at first it's like, how many times are we gonna let this person keep coming back? Then it quickly changed to, well, if they're calling and getting here,
The seed was planted.
that means they're trying.
Yeah.
As long as they're trying, then I have to give them my all. It doesn't matter. Like if you continue to come back, then obviously you see something in yourself. Maybe you're having a hard time seeing it, but why would you call us?
Right.
Listen, Gerald Garber. He was, Mr. Gerald. Love him. Shout out to Mr. Gerald all day. He's been doing this for probably before I was born. And I learned so much from him working at ARC at the rehab because he was a counselor there. And he would always say, as long as I have them in treatment, I could help them.
That's right.
Yeah.
The minute they leave, there's nothing I can do. And so that's something I constantly replay in my head is like, as long as I have them, I can help them,
I like that. That's good stuff. Excuse me. All right. Amazing. It's been an hour already. I don't know if you realize that. That's
wild.
crazy.
I didn't even notice.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like I do with every guest, pick a camera, look into it, and your last words for someone who's struggling or someone who knows someone who's struggling, whatever you want to say.
If you're struggling, whether it's your first time, second time, or 20th time coming to treatment, let go of the guilt and shame that you feel. It takes the most courage to walk through the threshold into our facility. But once you're in there, you'll have all the support that you need. So if you're struggling, give us a call today. Your turn.
All right. And same. I am in the community on a daily basis. You need to get in for mental health treatment, substance abuse treatment. No shame, no guilt. There's no judgment here. It's just about getting you some help. If you have a loved one that you need me to talk to, please call me. Please contact Oceans. And wherever they need the help, don't think that it'll be a call and we can't help you, because whatever you need, I'll help you. So even if it's not Oceans, I'm calling Faith for Woodlake or Victory or whoever they need to go to. I'm going to make sure to stay with that family and get them where they need to be.
That's right. It's all about the client.
All about the client.
Well, you already know what time it is for me. If you're struggling, let us help you. If you know someone's struggling, let us help you help them. Cannot do this on your own. Call Eddie, Jody, Lily.
Amazing team, by the way.
Yeah, amazing admissions team, the best by far, 24/7, might I add. The number will be on the screen again. Look, that's the hardest thing. If you can just make that call, we got you. Just make the call, get over that hurdle, and we'll love you until you can love yourself. Shout out to Miss Danielle, and we'll see you next time.